Um, let's ask about Benezia. That seems to be a very important thing we need to ask about.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I think she's already answered
I
this.
don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe she thought allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run. At least I hope so.
You sound troubled about this.
This hurts you, doesn't it?
None of this makes any sense to me. I have not spoken to Benezia in many years, but I know her, and this was not like her. Something changed.
What about... tell me about Asari culture. You know, humanity's becoming a grand player on the stage. We're like, I don't know, think of a nation that came into prominence. 19th century, maybe. I'm actually thinking of Germany, maybe Italy. Yes, I don't know what I'm on about. But yeah, it'd be good to know about the political, cultural things going on throughout the universe. Tell me about Asari culture.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
They're blue.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
What kind of rumors? I've not heard anything. I don't think. I may have and forgotten. My memory's atrocious. That's why I do blind Let's Plays, because I don't remember things. Rumors?
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
What? How? What? How? How is that possible?
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
And what about the other parent? What happens with them?
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
I want to ask both of these, actually. I hope I can. What about the age difference?
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions.
Till death do us
We do
part.
not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
Alright, so who was your father? Mother? Parent. Parent. We'll go with that. Parent.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
Can do what? What? You don't know who?
Benezia never told you her partner's name?
Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Reverse racism, that's kind of interesting. So rather than the idea of purity being something that's held up, and purity is a good thing. It's kind of the reverse. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's kind of odd. I mean, just, you think about a lot of segregation and racism is along the lines of purity and maintaining these are the good people and those are the bad people and you don't mix. And this one, it's more kind of, no, everyone should just mix, and if you don't mix, you're a bad person, kind of thing. I don't think I got across what I was thinking, and I'm not sure what I was thinking. It's already gone. Bad memory! She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge it. Oh, you don't know that. That's terrible, then why did she do it? You can ask that about so many other things. You don't know that.
Maybe she wanted to meet you, but couldn't. Something could have happened to her. Maybe she passed away.
You might be right. I hope you are. But I have no way to know for sure.
No,
Venezia
not now.
never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
Okay, so we've done that. Okay, we've done everything. Goodbye, thank you.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
Ooh, codex. A council race, Asari culture. Because of their long lifespan, Asari tend to have a long view, not common in other races. When they encounter a new species or situation, the Asari are more comfortable with an extended period of passive observation and study than immediate action. They are unfazed that some of their investments or decisions may not pay off for decades or even centuries. Matriarchs can seem to make incomprehensible decisions, but their insight is evident when their carefully laid plans come to fruition. In interstellar relations, this long view manifests in an unspoken policy of centrism, which I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is in political terms. The Asari instinctively seek to maintain stable balances of economic, political, and military power. Traditionally, Asari spread their influence. That's probably what centrism is. Traditionally, Asari spread their influence through cultural domination and intellectual superiority. They invite new species of advanced development to join the galactic community, knowing that their ideals and beliefs will inevitably influence the existing culture. Prothean's Beacon. The beacon on Eden Prime was a Prothean artifact unearthed on the Alliance colony of Eden Prime. That did that. Its resemblance to the Prothean databanks recovered on Mars provoked immediate interest from the Alliance and the Citadel Council. It proved to be a solid-state data storage device, part of a galaxy-spanning comm network similar to the modern extranet. Intact Prothean paleotechnology is rare. The beacon seemed to promise another quantum leap of technology, akin to the discovery of the Mass Effect driving relays. A quantum leap is tiny. It is practically insignificant. It is a jump of energy from for an electron to go from one energy state to another. It wouldn't have been a quantum leap. It would have been a huge step of some value rather than... Sorry. I studied quantum theory at university for one of my modules, so I know what a quantum leap is, and it is tiny. It just sounds cool because you've got quantum. This is a quantum leap, so it's really cool. It's like, no, it's tiny. Sorry. Unfortunately, the beacon also drew the attention of the rogue spectre Saren Arterius and his synthetic allies, the Geth. A dawn raid by his flagship sovereign resulted in hundreds of civilian casualties. The beacon, and they got turned into husks. The beacon was badly damaged. The motives behind the attack are still being investigated. Hello, that's me. During the recovery operation, the beacon fired a pulse of energy at the executive officer. I knew I was the executive officer! Yes! Of the Alliance frigate Normandy. Lieutenant Commander Shepard survived and appears to have suffered no ill effects. Afterwards, the beacon fell inert. The mechanism appears to be dead. This is the second time I've been called Lieutenant Commander. I'm wondering why I'm not a full commander, or a full captain, considering I now have a ship. I feel let down. I feel marginalised by my lack of promotion. Oh, you're just talking. I thought you, just the way you were moving, I thought you might have had, like, game of cards or something. Right, so we're gonna go down in the lift. Down we go. So there's a lot more blue dots. I think Ashley's been moved, I'm guessing. Oh yes, she's over there now. She was over there last time, I don't know why I thought she'd moved. Ah, I know, because when I first came out of the sick bay, she was standing around there, just like, oh, I'm sorry if I got you hurt. Like, no, I'm alright, just leave me alone. Garrus.
Commander, how are you?
Let me ask you about you and CSEC.
Why did you want to be a CSEC officer in the first place?
That's a good question. There were several reasons, I guess.
And what would they be?
Like what?
Probably the same as most officers. I wanted to fight injustice, wanted to help people. I guess my father had something to do with it too. He was CSEC, one of the best.
Ooh.
I grew up hearing about his accomplishments or seeing his picture on the vids after a big arrest. He's taking my resignation pretty hard.
Why? Your son follows in your footsteps and decides not to. I can see why.
That's tough. But you'd think he'd be impressed you're going after Saren.
My father's a CSEC man to the bone. Do things right or don't do them at all, he says. He thinks I'm being too rash, too impatient. He's worried I'll become just like Saren. He actually talked me out of becoming a Spectre when I was younger, for the same reasons.
You were going to be a Spectre?
You were asked to be a Spectre?
Well, I was targeted as a possible Spectre candidate. Me and about 1,000 other Turian military recruits. I could have received special training, but my father didn't like it. He despises the Spectres. He hates the idea of someone having unlimited power with no accountability. He wouldn't like you, Commander.
Alright, thanks.
No offense.
I understand that, though. The no accountability is the worrying part.
I suppose I can understand his concern.
Who watches the watchers?
You can. But Saren's not going to play by our rules, CSEC's rules. If you want to nail Saren, you need to send someone who isn't restricted by policies and procedures.
Who Spectres the Spectres? Or watches the watchers? Or... My nose is weird. I've only just noticed that. I know. Not true.
Just because you can break the rules doesn't mean you should. I don't need to stoop to Saren's level to stop him. And neither do you, Garrus.
Exactly.
I see what you mean, but I'll think about it. Thanks, Commander.